Good morning and welcome to the May 7th, 2025 Pinellas County Board of Adjustment and Appeals hearing. We received your cases in advance and we have studied them and in some cases visited the site. Please understand we do not bring these cases. We are citizens tasked with weighing the evidence submitted in order to make the most informed decision possible. We have no personal interest or stake in these cases except for the overall good of the community. Staff has made a recommendation on each case, and that recommendation is input only and may not necessarily be the opinion of this board. If you are planning to speak for or against any application, you must be sworn in prior to testifying. If you have not been sworn in, please do so now with the clerk at the front table. I think there was one person maybe. When your case is called by staff, the applicant should come to the podium and give us your name and address. The applicant will then present their case, including comments from any supporters in attendance. Comments by supporters should be new information, just not an expression of support. The applicant may display the volume of support by a show of hands. Speakers will have 3 minutes. Opponents will then be given an opportunity to state their objection. If there are numerous opponents, it is preferable for them to select 1 or 2 spokespersons. Speakers will have 3 minutes. Any subsequent objectors should add new information, not just rehash prior stated objections. Opponents also may display the volume of objectors by a show of hands. This will be the only opportunity for opponents to state their side. The applicant will then return to the podium solely to rebut the comments of any opponents and may not bring any new information or testimony at that time. Finally, we will close the public hearing and the board will discuss the case, make a motion, and vote. Our attorney will now provide additional information on our procedures.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
The matter today heard before the Board of Adjustment and Appeals is quasi-judicial in nature. Please note that only competent, substantial, fact-based testimony or evidence may be considered by the board in deciding the matters before it. Pure speculation or opinion, not based on competent facts, cannot be legally considered by the board. Lay testimony with fact-based support, including but not limited to meeting minutes, surveys, engineering reports, etc., may be considered competent and substantial evidence. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, Molly, I'll have to call the first and only case.
All right. Thank you. Good morning, board members. Molly Cord on behalf of Pinellas County Building and Development Review Services, Principal Planner. This is case number VAR-25-02. The applicant is Jeffrey Plazinski. This is a request for a variance to convert an existing 968 square foot single family residence into an accessory dwelling unit where 750 square feet is the maximum size allowed if the property is within a coastal storm area or flood hazard area for the property located at 270 North Street in Palm Harbor. The recommendation is conditional approval. The subject property is developed with a detached single-family home that was constructed in 1939. The site is in a coastal storm area and is within the Ozona Community Overlay. The applicant plans to build a larger primary single-family home that is behind the current smaller residence. After the completion of the new home, the existing single-family home would be converted into an accessory dwelling unit. Within the Land Development Code and residential zoning districts, we allow accessory apartments, garage apartments, carriage houses, guest houses to be permitted as accessory uses to any single-family detached home. The code requires that an accessory dwelling unit has an entrance that is separate from the primary unit, and it must contain sleeping quarters, a bathroom, and a full kitchen with a sink, cooking unit, and a refrigerator. The applicant has provided a floor plan that demonstrates adherence to that code section. The Land Development Code states that an accessory dwelling unit cannot exceed 750 square feet if the property is within the coastal storm area or a flood hazard area established in Land Development Code section 158-23. I recognize this is fairly new. This might be the first case that we've had this. We had a recent change within the ADU code regarding properties that are within a floodplain. This was adopted in July 30th, 2024. Basically, the reason for this kind of restriction is to limit properties help limit the population increases in storm vulnerable areas. So this is why you're seeing this request. The structure exceeds that standard size limit by 218 square feet. There are no modifications that are being proposed for the existing home at this time. The applicant wants to keep this historical character of the home intact. While staff does support the conditional approval of this request, during the Development Review Committee meeting, there was some discussion that came from BDRS's Engineering Division and Public Works that kind of expressed some concern related to the construction of the new single-family home, as it could face some challenges related to opportunities for flooding if there was fill material that would be brought in. So if that is the case, the applicant would need to provide compensatory storage for this type of construction. So with that, approval should be subject to the following conditions. Applicant shall obtain all required permits and pay all applicable fees. And then secondly, the future single-family residence must receive a certificate of occupancy prior to the activation of the accessory dwelling unit. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Molly, I think you said that there were no substantial changes to be made to the existing home, but I think they are elevating it.
And I'll let the applicant address that. Yep.
Okay.
And I know the applicant's here. Could you come on up? Thank you. Your name and address, please?
Jeffrey Plosinski, 270 North Street, Palm Harbor.
Jennifer Ploshinsky, same address.
Thank you. There's no objectors. I see that. Okay.
Very observant.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'm right on today.
There's a lot of things here.
Yeah.
I'd like
yeah.
to hear a brief description.
Sure. Do you want to do your presentation, your
Sure.
just to give us an idea? Thank
Okay.
you.
Good morning, and thank you all so much for taking the time to meet with us today. We truly appreciate your time and your consideration. We're here because we love our home, our community, and our neighborhood. And when Hurricane Helene struck, it devastated not just our property, but our sense of security. Since the storm, we've worked hard to stabilize our family, find temporary housing, and chart a thoughtful path forward, not just for today, but for the long-term future. And today we'd like to share that vision with you. Immediately after the flood, we secured the property and assessed its condition. And over the past year, we've worked with professionals to develop blueprints for a new home that will meet the needs of our growing family while keeping us rooted in the community that we love. And from the start, our goal has been simple: to rebuild responsibly, sustainably, and in a way that honors the past while preparing for what's ahead. We are planning to construct a new elevated storm-resilient primary residence. And at the same time, rather than demolishing the flood-damaged home, we hope to preserve and elevate it out of the floodplain, converting it into an accessory dwelling unit, or ADU. This ADU would contribute to the housing supply in our neighborhood and preserve the character of the property and reflect our commitment to rebuilding with minimal disruption to our neighborhood and surrounding environment. We want to be transparent about why we're converting the existing structure of our ADU in. It's so important to us. Square footage is extremely valuable in our neighborhood, and by preserving this home, we protect that value and add equity to the property, an essential step in helping us finance the construction of our primary home. The ADU would create potential for rental income, helping us stay financially stable throughout this process. And more importantly, the ADU has deep personal value for our family. It could house our aging parents, allowing us to care for them closer to home. It could welcome visiting family and friends, and it could provide a place for our own children to live one day. And ultimately, it could become a long-term living or retirement option for us, right here in the community that we love. In short, the ADU is not just a building, it's part of our vision for generational stability, family support, and financial resilience. We recognize that the easier and more common choice might be to renovate the home at its existing elevation or to demolish it and rebuild a smaller unit later. But having lived through this flooding experience before, we know that the responsible choice is to elevate the structure and build with future storms in mind. Doing so reduces our future risk, helps us preserve emergency resources for others in need, and puts us in a position to be helpers, not those needing help when the next storm hits. Preserving and elevating the structure is also the least disruptive option for our neighborhood and natural surroundings. It respects the history of the property while making it safer and more sustainable for generations to come. We're actively pursuing FEMA funding and Elevate Florida grants to assist with these efforts. And our plan combines public support and private investment to build smarter, safer, and more sustainably, not only for our family, but for the greater good of our neighborhood and city. In closing, we hope that you see our variance request for what it is, a thoughtful commitment to doing the right thing, not just for ourselves, but for our neighbors, our community, and our future generations. The variance is a key step toward achieving those goals responsibly, and respectfully. Thank you again for your time, your service, and your consideration. We're happy to answer any questions or provide additional information.
How high do you need to elevate the home?
I believe it's about 5 feet.
Yeah, the BFE out there looks like it's 13.9, so they probably have to get it to 14.9. That would be the design flood elevation,
And you said 5. So yes, roughly
roughly 15, but
15 to get it to, but I'm saying we're at 8, you said, so
yeah,
5 to 6 feet.
yes, whatever the current elevation is out there.
Does anyone? No.
I have no issues with what they want to do. It's not going to be inexpensive. But hopefully you can get some grant money to help with that, and you're doing the right thing. I'm going to move for staff recommendation of conditional approval in accordance with the findings of fact as outlined in the staff recommendation.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Baumstein, a second by Mr. Diaz. Any other questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It passes, I think, 6-0.
Yeah.
Correct?
For the record, it's Bello, not
Who's Mr.
Diaz.
Diaz?
Oh, what did I say, Mr. Bello?
I usually get called Juan Carlos or Julio, but
Sorry, I'm like, I
you
don't
were
know
in the
where.
ballpark.
I'm thinking of Carlos Diaz, that's my commissioner. Sorry,
Good
God.
guy.
Sorry about that, Mr. Bello.
No problem.
Got your variance
Thank
somehow.
you. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day, thank you.
Thank you.
You too.
Madam Chair and the board, there was evidently a mix-up where we didn't get the Sunshine Law packet into the uploaded and distributed with the packet. Then I realized I'm going to be out for the next meeting, and you've got a little bit heavier agenda next month with regard to the items that are going to be heard. So what I could do here is give a very brief overview of the Sunshine Law, and then distribute the PowerPoint packet at a later date. I know that we've recently had some orientations with our newer members, and some of you have heard this many times before, so I don't know that I need to go in too much depth, but there's certain points I always like to hit. So let me just roll on this, and we'll get it
That's
done.
fine.
The Sunshine Law is governed by Chapter 286 Florida statutes. It requires notice that's consistent with the code and Florida statutes for the meeting. Minutes must be kept of the meeting, and the public must have an opportunity to be heard. It's not only matters that are agended, it's matters that might reasonably be anticipated to be on a BAA agenda that prohibit communication. So if you're out in the public and somebody's talking to you, tell something about, well, I'm going to thinking about putting in something with the county, that's where you hit the brakes and say, hey, I'm on the Board of Adjustment. I can't talk to you about that. That's reasonably anticipated to be on some future agenda. It's not just agenda items now. That tends to be something I've seen in the past where people have had to make disclosures during meetings, and it slows things down and confuses things. Also, the big one I like to hit is liability. It's a misdemeanor, but liability inures to the individual, not the county. So if someone in the public, or if there's a Sunshine Law violation and someone wants to make hay with it, then the individual has to go out, get an attorney, make a defense for themselves. The county can supply information or arguments, but really we're kind of tied because, again, the liability for a Sunshine Law violation inures to the individual, even if it's inadvertent. And I know everyone's favorite is where I send out these emails saying, please don't hit reply all. And I've gotten a little bit of shrapnel back on those. I know when I send them out, I'm going to get the shrapnel. but it's because I've had in previous lives, I've had people accidentally hit the reply all trying to write a staff member about an agenda item, and they send it to the whole board, sunshine law violation. We can clean it up, but then we have to go through a whole bunch of mechanisms during the meeting to clean it up. And that makes things difficult. So that's why I do that. I know it's annoying. I know that y'all are like, we're just trying to say, please attend the meeting on time or whatever you're saying. You know?
Right.
But it has a different purpose than because I've seen it and then it just bogs you down. So those are the high points I like to hit. Really, it's the safest way to handle these things is wait till the gavel hits and just talk between the gavels, and then you're good. Or you can talk to staff directly, or me and staff directly. Just we can't be couriers of information to another board member, any of that kind of thing. But the safest thing to do, other than direct conversations with staff or legal, is just talk during the meeting, and then you're safe. It's all in the minutes. So with that, I'll have a PowerPoint for you to distribute in physical form at a later date, but please contact me with any questions you might have, if it's a close call, or about if you feel like you have a conflict of interest and you feel like, oh, I'm serving on any kind of board or anything where it's a close call, then we'll figure out whether you needed to file a form and disqualify yourself for a certain case item. We can handle all those kind of things. Please never feel bad about calling us. The biggest mistake you make is not asking me. And I'll go do the research and find you an answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good overview. Thank you. I think we have minutes from the last meeting too.
To approve the minutes of the April meeting.
Second.
Mr. Bello. A motion by Mr. Bobbsey to, second by Mr. Bello to approve the minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, and I think we're done.
All right.